Hey everybody, what's going on? It's James here with Crypto Common Sense, and I wanted to shoot a new update video for you for Saturday, October the 24th. And this video is going to be a little different. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, going to talk about some altcoins if I have time, and going to talk about some stocks. Also going to do a little bit of a brain dump, and I have a little bit of a confession that I'm going to share with you guys. So before I jump into the content for this video, please do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up button, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you have not already, head over to my Patreon and sign up. It's just $7 a month. That helps to support the channel and helps to keep these videos coming. So let's start with the confession, right? Because you guys know I don't use clickbait titles. I know I could get more subscribers if I did. I know I could get more views if I did, but I like to keep things real. So instead of waiting to the end of the video or hiding it in the video so you got to watch the whole thing to find it, here's the confession, guys. I've been busted. Yesterday, a commenter figured things out, and they figured me out. They said, are you ready for it? I sell stuff. Yeah. They caught me red-handed. I sell stuff. I know that might come as a shock. The fact that I have links for stuff to buy in every video. I was doing my best to try to hide that I sell products, but I've been busted. All right, so sarcasm aside, I do sell stuff. And in fact, my goal with cryptocurrency in this niche and specifically is to make a lot more money selling stuff than I do trading. Now, the funny thing about trolls and the funny thing about people who make negative comments about people who sell stuff is they act like the two are exclusive. Like you can't actually be a trader and teach other people how to trade, or you can't actually be a trader and sell software on trading. Well, years ago, some of you already know this about me, but some of you might not. Years ago, I got involved in online marketing. And I left my job for my last job ever. I left in February of 2011. I had been online marketing on the side for about 8 years before that, decided to go full time with it. And shortly thereafter created a software company where we created software products in various niches and then sold that software directly to consumers. And the company did very well. So what I like to do, I had a mentor early on and he taught me this formula for making money. And he told me, James, once you master this formula, it's like having a printing press to print as much money as you ever need. And so the formula is really simple. I'm going to share it with you right now. It's called LIT. L-I-T. And what that formula stands for is learn, implement, teach. So essentially what I do for a living, or what I did for a living for the last 9+ years before I focused on trading full-time, was I would learn things, I would implement things, and then I would teach those things. So for example, I learned how to create software, I created software, I sold tons of software, literally millions of dollars in sales under my belt, and then I turned around and I taught other people how to create and sell software. While I was teaching how to create software, I continued to get this, create and sell software, because why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I keep doing what was making me money? So when it comes to trading, these weird comments sometimes, and listen, I know the majority of you are positive, right? I see, YouTube tells me on average, my videos get between 97 and 100% thumbs up. So I appreciate that very much. But I also want to be transparent and tell you guys that if there's anybody that watches the channel and says, oh, this guy's only a trader, he's not trying to sell anything, just look at the description. Of course I'm trying to sell stuff. Of course I'm trying to sell stuff, right? That has nothing to do with whether or not I trade. Also, these videos really don't have anything to do with trading. And I know that sounds a little bit odd because it's like, wait a minute, what do you mean? They're not trade videos, right? Me saying that I'm macro bearish, or me saying that I'm expecting a stock market crash that will take crypto now with it, how does that help you trade, right? Now, It's a good big picture look. It's one opinion that you might want to consider. But knowing, even if you knew for a fact, okay, let's be very clear. Even if you knew for a fact, which nobody does, that Bitcoin was for sure going to, say, $1,000 or $50,000. It's not a trade, right? Unless you're going to know exactly what it's going to do between now and then. How do you trade that? It might go to $1,000, but it might go to $16,000 first. So if you short it now, you're going to get stopped out, right? It might go to $50,000, but it might go to $1 first. Highly unlikely, but you don't know. So you're going to get stopped out. It's not trading. Market analysis is not the same thing as trading. And it's funny because yesterday or the day before, somebody left a comment saying, "You're the worst trader ever." And what I responded to them before blocking them from the channel, I responded that life is precious. Life is short. My parents both passed away in their 40s. I learned that lesson the hard way. Your time is too precious to sit on YouTube and troll people or to sit and argue with people who don't agree with you. I get sucked into this sometimes and I have to remind myself constantly. It's not worth arguing with people. If they don't agree with you, agree to disagree and move on. And if you're watching somebody's YouTube channel and you just completely think they've lost their mind or they're stupid or they're the worst trader ever, cool. Go find somebody else's channel to watch. Don't waste time listening to people you don't like and you don't trust, right? But again, market analysis is not trading. It's not the same thing at all. And there are a lot of people who are really, really good traders who are terrible at market analysis. And there are a lot of people who are really good at market analysis who are terrible traders. Trading is about trading setups, knowing exactly when you're going to enter and where you're going to exit, right? Trading is about handling your emotions so that you don't get scared out of a position too soon, or so that you don't continue holding a losing position that's losing, and you're afraid to close it because what if it bounces any minute, or what if it goes my way any minute, right? Emotions and setups, that's trading. And I don't really teach that stuff on this channel because that's what I teach inside of my course, right? So what I wanted to do was, I just wanted to say that there are different kinds of people in the world. People are motivated by different things. And me personally, I'm not really motivated by my own financial success. Of course, it's important and I have goals that I'm trying to hit and all that kind of stuff like anybody else. But I get a lot more out of seeing other people succeed than anything else. Within reason. I'm not a saint. I don't do this stuff for free. I'm not trying to pretend like I am. But, I've had students over the last couple of months who've never traded before. They come to me and said, "Hey, I've doubled my account, following your setups. Hey, I've tripled my account following your setups," right? That stuff is awesome. I sold software in 2018 that did this special kind of trading. I'm not going to share what it was because it was something I came up with on my own algorithm. It did this special kind of trading and people bought it during the end of the bull market. It was January 2018 that I sold it. And a lot of those people made their money back within a few days, right? I had people who were using it all throughout the bear market, making 1%, 2%, 3% per day using that software. That stuff is really motivating, right? I showed a friend of mine who was already trading. He had trading experience, right? He traded Forex and he traded crypto, but he ended up buying my trading course. I don't know if he was just trying to add to his, arsenal or what, but somehow he came across my trading course. He bought my trading course and he implemented my trading course, liked it, decided he wanted to give something back to me. So he taught me his system of trading, which was totally different from mine. And I'm building new software using his system and my system combined. That's going to be really, really cool. And then just this week, he said, "Hey, I'm going to try your crypto setups and your stock setups." He said, "I'm going to take those and see if they work in Forex." And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd really be interested to hear how that works out." So he did. He went over to Forex and he opened up a 10-lot trade. And I'm not a Forex expert, but I think it's a $1 million position. That's the way that works, or roughly $1 million position. And sent me the results, right? So this was the first message that he sent to me right after he did the trade. It was a day trade. And he took a short position on the Euro/Australian dollar, I guess. And I blocked out the name of the setup, right? Because, again, I don't want to share that except inside of my course. But yeah, he took the setup that I created, did this trade, and sent me this. And when he first sent me this, he was up about 11.3K. And that's pounds. That's not dollars. That's pounds, so it was closer to like 15K USD. And then he sent me an update. So there's the screenshot from his mobile of the trade itself. He sent me an update a little later, and the trade was up over 13,000 pounds, which is right at, I believe, 17,000 US dollars. Not bad for a day trade, right? Not bad for a day trade at all. And that was, again, based on the setups that I created for crypto and for the stock market. And the reason I'm sharing that is because he didn't sit and watch the euro and sit and watch the Australian dollar. He didn't do a big market analysis saying, okay, well, this is going to go to this place in 6 months, or this is going to be worth this in a year. All he did was take a setup, a very simple setup, go look for it in the chart, and when he saw it, and he was watching several charts, he was watching, I think he said 8 different pairs, and when one of those pairs put that setup in, he took the short position, and just like that, 15, 16, 17,000 US dollars profit, and I think it was about 24 hours. I think he held it overnight because he was up so big that he just put a trailing stop on it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't need to know anything about that market. He didn't even know about the news for the Australian dollar, or what was happening with what did I just say? It was the euro, I think. What was it? I forgot. Yeah, the euro, right? He didn't need to know any of that. All he needed to know was my setup. Right? That's it. So I just want to point that out and say that, guys, I make no bones about it. I know who got rich during the gold rush. It wasn't the gold miners. There was a very select few gold miners who got very wealthy. The people who got really wealthy off of it were the people selling the shovels, the people selling the tools, the people selling the blue jeans. I am absolutely in the business of selling shovels, and I want to be in the business of selling shovels. If I do well trading and I make a lot of money trading, there's no doubt in my mind that I could probably earn 7 figures over the course of maybe 5 to 10 years of trading, right? Meaning, if I'm averaging $100,000 to $150,000 a year profit, eventually, yes, I should be able to make $1 million trading. On the flip side, selling shovels, I should be able to make $1 million in 12 to 18 months. So, and if you think, oh, this guy's pulling these numbers out of thin air, I promise you I'm not. I promise you I'm not. And the reason I'm sharing that is because, there's so many people with alternative motives in this market. And if you go to places like social media, you'll see a lot of people who are super bullish, and secretly they may not be that bullish. You really don't know. But if you look, how does this person make their living? A lot of them are making their money through showing affiliate links, which, by the way, I have no problem with. I have affiliate links in my videos, right? I have no problem with that at all. But they're making their money through affiliate links and selling things. So the more followers they have, the more money they're going to make from selling things and from selling basically promos, sponsored links and things, right? I get emails all the time from companies offering me money to do a sponsor, right? Oh, if you sponsor our new coin, we'll pay you XYZ. Or if you sponsor our new coin, we'll give you XYZ free coins. I've never done it, right? Because I've never saw one that I was that interested in that I thought, okay, I would feel good telling people about this. But if your whole income is based around that type of thing, the more followers you have, the more money you're going to make. And people on Twitter specifically know the more bullish you are, and on YouTube, the more bullish you are, the more followers you're going to get. I posted some super bearish stuff, and last week I lost over 1% of my followers on social media, right? I knew it was going to happen when I posted it, but I posted it anyway because I'm not there to make money off of social media. When I want to make money, when I want to scale a business, or when I want to scale a software, I will run advertising for that software, and I will make money through advertising, right? So when I'm bearish, it's because it's what I see in the charts. It's not because it's what I want to happen. And the bull market, my software was doing very, very well, ridiculously well. The first day it was for sale, it made over $50,000 profit, right? But by the bear market in 2019, I wasn't even making enough money with that software to pay for the server and the API and the development cost to keep that software going. I had to shut the software down. So for me, when I look at this market, I want there to be a bull market so that, number one, my HODL portfolio goes up passively. Number two, I can start trading alt pairs, Bitcoin pairs to stack Satoshis. And number three, and most importantly, people are making lots of money in a bull market and they are a lot looser with their wallets. It's a lot easier to quote unquote sell them stuff, right? I think there have been probably, off the top of my head, maybe 50 people who have bought my trading course in the last 12 months, 6 months, right? It hasn't been very many people, okay? I think all in all, that trading course probably brought in, I did a couple different trading courses, one with my strategy and one with my friend's strategy. So between the two of them, I made probably somewhere around 40 grand over the last like 12 to 18 months, right? Which is certainly good. It's a really good side income, and I'm not saying it's not. But my point being, you take that 40 grand over the last 12 to 18 months, and the software made more than that in one day. The only difference being, one was a bull market, one was a bear market. I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm not telling you what I want to happen. I'm telling you what I think is happening. And I could absolutely be wrong. There's an amazing quote. I was watching The Big Short the other day, which is the movie about Dr. Michael Berry, who shorted the housing market back before the financial meltdown in 2007, 2008. And one of the quotes at the beginning of the movie was such a good quote. It's from Mark Twain, and it went like this: "It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so." Now, that could be me. That could be me and my bear bias, right? It just ain't so, and I believe it is. Maybe that's getting me in trouble. But when I look around the market right now, what I see is a lot of euphoria. I see people who were, I see the bulls, right, who are always bullish, and they're bullish, and that doesn't concern me at all because that's their spiel. What concerns me is all of the bears, the guys who were bearish in 2019, side by side with me, the guys who were taking all the shit last year just like I was, almost every single one of them are talking about all-time highs. So I see two possibilities in this market right now. The first possibility is that we are indeed in a new bull market, and that if we're looking at a market cycle chart, that December of 2018 was actually anger, that the run up in the summer, that echo bubble, was actually this point here, and that March was actually depression. Now, some people look at this and say, well, it can't because this is lower than this. It's not a perfect chart, right? Not everything falls to everything exactly to the T, it can be a little different. And if that's the case, then what we're in right now could absolutely be the disbelief phase, which is the beginning of a bull market, right? That's what most of these people who are bullish, this is what they're banking on, is that this time is like every time before, and that the bottom is in, and that we're in a new bull market. And they could absolutely be right. My problem is this. Read what this says, disbelief. I'm in disbelief, but I have a very strong bear bias, right? How many other people are actually in disbelief? How many people are actually sitting here and going, okay, this is just a sucker's rally? I'm not seeing hardly anybody. I'm seeing the bulls, the perma bulls, and the bears all saying the same thing. This is a new bull market. We're going to new all-time highs. That does not sound like disbelief to me, and that makes me very nervous. The thing that I put out last year is that I thought we were in an echo bubble, but I was concerned that we might be in a bigger macro bubble. And my concern was that what was actually happening was we were in complacency. And it looked like this. This is not the exact tweet. I retweeted this a few days ago, but this is basically what it looked like. If you put Bitcoin on a log chart and you put a bubble chart beside of it, this could absolutely be euphoria. And all of this through here could be complacency. Now, before you freak out and say, no, there's no way. Stop and think about what this chart says. What is complacency? We just need to cool off for the next rally. This is literally what everyone and their brother is saying right now. That this has all been, just the goalie, and that new all-time highs are around the corner. When you ask people in cryptocurrency, most people, they don't think that an all-time high is possible. They know it's possible. They don't think that an all-time high is coming. They know an all-time high is coming. It's not even about when. Like some of them will even accept we might go lower first, but an all-time high is definitely coming. They don't even entertain the idea that this won't go back up. Does that sound like disbelief? Or does that sound like complacency? Because to me, it sounds like complacency. And it was funny because when I was watching The Big Short, I wasn't watching it for trading advice or anything. It just happened to be on Netflix and I was like, oh, I love that movie. So I pulled it up and I was watching it. The reason the bankers lost all that money and the reason all those people lost all that money and crashed the market and created that big bubble is because they all believed the same thing. It couldn't crash. Everyone felt the same way. There's no way the the housing market can crash. Safest investment ever. And that's exactly what happened. It crashed. Well, now everyone in crypto is just gung-ho for sure. We're going to hit new all-time highs. This is the reason that I don't have more invested in Bitcoin. Okay? It's not a matter of, oh, well, what if we go down a little bit? It's a matter of what if we never go back up? Okay? So I keep a small percentage of my net worth in Bitcoin. You guys all know I have roughly 2 Bitcoin worth of cryptocurrency. That's it. If it goes to the moon, that's wonderful. But even if it goes down, it's not that I'm going to be celebrating. I'm like, oh, I get to buy cheap Bitcoin. That's how I felt in 2018. Even though I lost a bunch of money, I was still happy about buying cheap Bitcoin because I still felt like it was going to go back up someday. When it fell in March, one of the people on the channel called me out saying, you called for 4,000 for 9 months and you were spot on, but then you didn't take the trade when it happened. Or you took the trade, but you exited too early. Yeah, I did. I did take the trade and I did exit early. I exited most of it under $7,000. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it was on that initial bounce. But you have to understand that there's a huge difference in a trade and an investment. I felt comfortable trading Bitcoin at that level. I did not feel comfortable investing in Bitcoin at that level. I felt like there was a real possibility that it might die. And I still feel like there's a real possibility that it may never go back up to where it was. You have to remember that the CME was not involved in this market prior to this high, right? You have a whole set of people who don't believe in Bitcoin who are betting against it now, and that helps to keep the bulls in check. So we'll see how it goes, but this is my thought process behind all this. There's so much more to it than just looking at a chart and saying, oh, well, I'm bearish because I want to buy cheap Bitcoin. No, I'd rather be bullish. I'd rather make lots and lots of money selling shovels. And if I want to sell lots and lots of shovels, I need lots and lots of customers and lots of people excited about this space and new people coming into the space. I don't need the same old people that have been in the space for years and years and years and are jaded, right? So I know I went on a long time about that. I tried to shoot this video several times today, and it just, every time it ends up being a really long video, but I really wanted to go deep and explain all that. What I want to do now is I don't want to talk about the Bitcoin chart. I want to talk about the stock chart. So let's jump over to, let's start with the dollar index, okay? So this is the dollar index. You guys know I've kind of been a little bit wishy-washy about this, a little unsure of it. We're sitting on monthly support. I know a lot of people are super bearish on it and everything. I've been a little more bullish on it. Felt like we were sitting on monthly support, right? Which we are. Felt like this was a bullish engulfing candle. So I'm still fairly bullish on this. And I'm almost wondering, this is a monthly chart, I'm almost wondering if this is actually accumulation. Look at this. You have a big drop and now you have all this sideways chop. See it? If I flip this chart upside down, most people would say this looks like distribution, right? Go up, distribute, and then down. Well, if that's the case, it's probably accumulation, which would make sense timing-wise because it has an inverse correlation to the major markets like the stock market, okay? So if this is accumulation and the dollar is getting ready to go up, that's a sign that the stock market is getting ready to go down. And when I look at this is my trend line on RSI. There's no verification. There's no third touch. You need 3 touches to really verify a trend line, right? There's no verification, but this looks an awful lot like this wants to come down and put in a W on top of support, right? I've seen this play out again and again and again over the years, and it's a super bullish signal, okay? This is actually momentum, see? Same thing with it. it looks like it's trying to put in a giant W, which would be bullish in nature. And then up here, and I don't trade MACD at all, not at all. But up here, if you look, right, MACD says, hey, look, we're putting in all these lower lows, but look at what MACD is doing. Higher low, higher low, higher low, right? It's actually trending up while price is trending down. That's bullish divergence, right? So when I look at the dollar chart, it looks very, very, I don't want to say promising, but it looks very possible that it's actually going through a period of accumulation before more upside. Okay, so then we jump off of that and we go look at stocks. Let's look at the US 500. Okay, so here's the stock market. Let's put it on a monthly chart. Something should immediately be jumping out at you. And I've talked about this in past videos, but I'll talk about it again in case you didn't see those. What do we have here? You have a high, a lower high, lower high, and a lower high. And what do you have in price? This is a monthly chart. You have a high, higher high, higher high, higher high. You guys want me to share one of my trade setups with you? It's not one of the better ones. It's super accurate, works like gangbusters, but it doesn't happen near as often as the main trade setups that I trade. But I'll share a trade setup with you. It's one that I just recently decided to nickname the Three Little Pigs. You want to see the Three Little Pigs setup? All right, so here's how this setup works. This is something you can put in your bag of tricks. I'm going to get rid of everything so we just have a clean chart with nothing but RSI and price. So when price was moving up through here, you see these big green bars. Well, these kept opening up liquidity gaps. What was happening was people were getting in front of the market. Bears were trying to short it too early. They're getting squeezed, and it was stopping them out, pushing price up. They shorted it. They got squeezed. Shorted it. Got squeezed, right? Squeezed. When should they have shorted it? Well, they could have shorted it when the Three Little Pigs showed up. Ready for the Three Little Pigs? So here is our host of our party, 87.7 RSI. So what I'm looking for, extremely overbought conditions. Anything over 80 would be extremely overbought. That's the first sign that I'm going to start looking for a short setup, right? On this setup, there are other setups I trade that happen a lot more often. This is one that only happens once in a great while. It's extremely accurate, okay? So that happens. That was on this candle here. Do I go short there? Hell no. I'm still waiting. Right here, our first little pig showed up. I'm calling them pigs because pigs are greedy, right? Greedy little pigs. And greedy pigs get slaughtered. So there's a pig. A higher high, it closed higher. But if you look at RSI, it closed lower. So that is what's called bearish divergence. Not enough to take a trade for me. But there you go, there's the first part. Next thing you know, our second little piggy showed up. Another higher close. Another lower RSI. And finally our third little piggy showed up. A higher close, and RSI went from 84.52 to 84. We now have three little piggies at our party. Now is the time that we go short. So your short position on this one would have looked like this. Entry, stop, just above the old high. That would have been right at the high. So there you go. Above this wick, looks good. Didn't know any of this was going to happen yet. So let's go ahead and hit replay mode so we don't see that. We'll set the trade up. This is how it actually looked when the trade came in. Okay. And stop loss 1.11%. So we want a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio right about there. So a 2.2% profit target. Again, if you're noticing, nothing I'm doing on this chart has anything to do with whether Bitcoin is going to 50 grand or $1. None of that matters. It's just a whole bunch of noise. Okay. Now you might be saying, well, wait a minute. We don't know if RSI is going to stop there. It could have kept going up. It could, right? It could, but this is the setup. That's the way setups work. If it keeps going up, what happens? You get stopped out. You move on to the next trade. Life goes on. Let's hit play. We'll update this every half a second. Ooh, almost got stopped down that very next candle. No fun. Next candle comes in. Next candle comes in. Looking good, looking good. Oh no, it's going back up and boom. Done. Trade. 4, 8, 12, 16, 24 hours. Did you need to know what Bitcoin was going to do a year from now? Did it really matter what Bitcoin was going to do a year from now? Hell no. That's what's called a trade setup. That is what a trade setup is. You see this happen. You see the 3 little pigs come to the dinner party and you make a decision. And guess what? Sometimes those 3 little pigs, they're starving and they're really hungry little pigs. So then you do this. If this was a drop and you wanted to long it, you would just flip it would just be the exact opposite. You'd be looking for higher lows on our side. You'd be looking for lower lows on price, and your profit target would be going up and your stop loss would be going down. And in that case, same exact thing. The setup works. Now, this is one coin. There are hundreds of altcoins that this works on. There are hundreds of stocks this works on. There are I don't know much about Forex, but there's tons of Forex pairs that this works on. There's precious metals this works on. And people come to me and say, well, you're a shit trader because you're a bear and price went up 300% since March. Has nothing to do with trading, number one. And number two, everybody likes to count their chickens before they hatch. Everybody said the same thing to me in December of last year when Bitcoin hit 10K and it still hadn't went to 4K. But what happened? It went to 4K, right? I'm not saying that I know what's going to happen. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I could absolutely be wrong, which I've said all along, right? What I'm saying is it doesn't freaking matter. Doesn't matter. Because I can do this. I can look for this setup and other setups like this that are very, very specific. And when they happen, I take a very specific action. I have a very specific profit target. I have a very specific stop loss. And I do it again and again and again. And yes, I charge people money to teach them stuff like this because I sell shovels. But the shovels work. They dig really good holes. Okay? I'm being a little sarcastic in this video because I've just gotten burnt out on being the nice guy, right? It's funny because in real life, I'm not that nice. In fact, my wife, one of the things that she told me when we were dating is I was probably the biggest asshole she'd ever met. And the reason is because, one, I'm brutally honest with people. Two, I have very little patience for bullshit and stupidity, right? And in real life, people know me as a guy that will straight up tell you how it is. I don't go around looking to make friends with people. The friends I have, are people that are like-minded, people that know how I am, and people that are okay with how I am. I don't bend the knee to anybody. I don't cater to people, and I've never been that guy. Anyway, you get what I'm saying, right? You don't need to listen to all that freaking noise. If you want to trade, join my course. I'll teach you how to trade. That's a blatant plug for it, right? It's in the link. It's $1,000 a year. Guarantee it's worth every penny. Guarantee it. So that is that setup on Bitcoin. Let's go back over to the stock market. What do you see? Well, yes, that would be what you see. It's our friends, the 3 little pigs. Except instead of being on a 4-hour chart where I'm looking for a 1 or 2% move, it's on a monthly chart. And it's on the monthly S&P 500 chart. Now you understand, hopefully, why I'm bearish. It has nothing to do with what I want to happen. It's the chart. It's what the chart is saying. This looks like a giant falling wedge, which is bullish in the long term. The only problem is this looks a hell of a lot like a double top, which leads me to believe that it's probably going to go to the bottom of the wedge and then break out. That's the S&P 500. If we go look at the Dow Jones, which is the US 30, on this one, we don't have the 3 little pigs, right? Because we have a higher high, which is just one. And this one is not quite as high. So there's no three little pigs there. What we have instead is we have this downward line. It's a downward sloping line, which is obviously resistance. So we have resistance. We're sitting right at resistance. And we have what's called a megaphone pattern. A broadening wedge or a megaphone pattern is what's known as a bearish signal. Entirely possible this thing is wanting to go to the bottom of this megaphone, which will be down around 15K or so, maybe 18K, right, on the Dow, somewhere down in this area here. I don't like this US 30 chart because it doesn't go back far enough. So let me switch over to an actual Dow Jones chart here. And the reason being is because I need the previous price data to show you this. So the reason 15K is on my target is because it's the previous all-time high, right? It's actually down around 14K. And you can see this is still the same deal, right? You got your broadening wedge or your megaphone pattern. And then of course on the bottom, you've got your series of lower highs, okay? If we put Fibonacci levels on here from the bottom in 2009 after the housing crisis, and we draw it to the top in 2020, our 61.8 golden pocket is right here, right around that old all-time high. So this is what I'm looking for on the Dow, is I'm looking for it to crash or correct, whatever you want to call it, back down to this area here, consolidate, and then eventually put in new all-time highs long term. This crash down to this level, that lines up with the idea that the dollar is an accumulation. It also lines up with the idea that Bitcoin is actually going to have more pain before upside. And again, this all plays into why I'm so bearish. And then finally, let's take a look at the US 100, which is the NASDAQ. This is a monthly chart. Get all this stuff off of here. It's just a nice plain chart, price action, and the RSI. RSI 82.63, RSI 80.75, RSI 78.8. This is, this is one little pig, two little pigs, higher high, higher high. We don't have three little pigs on this one either, but we do have massive, massive divergence from 2018 till now. And some people will say, well, no, that doesn't count because this right here was a lower high and this was a higher high. So there's your divergence and there was your drop off the divergence. Now we're starting all over. Could be. I'm just telling you what I've seen from trading thousands of trades with similar setups and similar behavior on 5 and 15-minute charts. And they work the same way on monthly charts. Okay. So, I know this is, a lot of you watch this because you're in a cryptocurrency. Maybe you're not even trading stocks. Maybe you're not even trading gold and silver and things like that. But the thing is sometimes people will stumble across this channel and they will spout some nonsense in the comments or whatever. And, oh, this guy's just bearish because he missed out. I promise you, while it may not seem like it at times because I try to keep the videos under 30 minutes, there is a lot of analysis that goes into my viewpoints. It's not based on, oh, I'm a bear, I don't like Bitcoin, or gee golly, I wish I could buy some $1,000 Bitcoin. It has nothing to do with it. It really does have, there's a lot of research behind the ideas that I put forth. I don't take it lightly that people watch the channel. This candle, this monthly candle in the NASDAQ, that's what I would call a dog shit candle, right? Not only did it fail to take out its previous high so far, right? And there's still some time left in the month, so maybe it surprises me, but not only did it fail to close higher than its previous high, but it's putting in a wick, which shows buyer exhaustion, right? Even if the NASDAQ only dropped back down to this 9,000 level from early in 2020, that's a 22% drop. This little dip back in March, from the opening in March to the low in March, was 20%. Bitcoin fell 50% in one day when that happened. So how do you read this? And I mean, look at this. This is not a log chart. This is a regular chart. How do you look at this? This is a chart that only goes back 4 years. I don't know how people look at that and say, gee golly, that looks bullish. You know? I mean, let's look at the Dow. Let me really put this in perspective. You want to see some crazy perspective on this. I know the video is long, but this might really open some eyes. Let's change this from a monthly chart to a yearly chart. This is a yearly candlestick chart. Each one of these candles is 1 year. This goes back to 1897. You see a problem yet? Do you see a problem yet? How about now? No one's going to argue that this was a bubble, right? Funny how this here looks a hell of a lot like this here, only on a 100-year time frame instead of on a 3 or 4 year time frame. It just looks like one really nasty market cycle. So either I'm dead flipping wrong and this thing is going to go straight up for the first time in history without any kind of major crash, or bad shit's coming. And I don't know which, but I'm positioned for it. I have plenty of cash reserves so that if things crash, I'm liquid. I'm able to, first off, pay my bills, take care of my family. I could go for years with no income if push came to shove. I am liquid so that if there are buying opportunities, I can be buying while others are crying. And I am also hedged with a small portfolio. If things do keep going up, I will make money on those moves, you know, passively. And at the same time, I will use my skill set and my previous knowledge of business, marketing, and sales to create really awesome shovels. It is a win-win-win for me. And I seriously doubt people trolling my YouTube channel can say the same. I'd say they're way too heavily invested one way or the other, right? They are way too emotionally and financially invested in one particular outcome becoming the reality. And if it does, that's great. But if it doesn't, I don't know where it leaves them. So the video is going to have some heavy editing because I had interruptions and everything else. But right now it's showing 50 minutes. That's a long video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it, and it's fun to just do a brain dump once in a while and share some ideas. And I wanted to give you guys a deeper look at, you know, how I come to these conclusions and why I come to these conclusions. Not just, you know, here's a chart, here's what I think. There's more to it than, you know, throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, but I will wrap up by saying this. I'm just some guy sitting in a spare bedroom, so I could absolutely be wrong, which is why nothing in this video is financial advice, and you should always do your own due diligence and seek out professional financial advice from a licensed financial advisor before making any type of investment in cryptocurrency, the stock market, or precious metals. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and of course, don't forget to check the description for a link where you can join the Patreon. It helps to support the channel, gives you access to more frequent updates. This is James with Crypto Common Sense reminding you to please trade safe.